Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons, your preferred Bryant dealer. Whatever it takes. Visit robertgibb.com.
Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you, and I gotta say, we are under the impressions that there are some changes taking place. The radar is getting started. We'll have an update coming up on this broadcast of what we can expect as we head through this event. There's been a shift. We're going to go over the forecast momentarily, but right now we'll take a look at the current conditions and warnings in place. Most of the area here in the Northern Plains under the influence of a winter storm warning. Now, there is a blizzard warning that has been hoisted, but it's well to the south. We're talking parts of South Dakota and Nebraska as this system lifts its way northward. There's already been some increasing and intense snow showers. Taking a look at the radar right now, we are seeing that some of the heavier bands of snow, as I switch my Crayola into white, are setting up here near Sioux Falls. This is the main event. Look at the rain that's pushing up to Des Moines. Ahead of it, though, as this is lifting northward, is a band of some heavy snow. If you are joining, thanks for joining. Go ahead and drop a line. Let me know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, you can throw those up here. I'll do my best to take a peek at those as well. Now, we have a band of light snow showers that's on the north side, kind of a secondary band. It's farther from the main storm center that is lifting out of the south and west. Notice that we do have some changes out in the Mile High City area as well, and this could be somewhat of an impact for those traveling via air. Not in Denver proper, that's the good news, so hopefully there won't be impacts to the air travel in and out of the Mile High City, but there are blizzard warnings and winter storm warnings in the elevated terrain of the mountains just south of Denver, between Denver and Colorado Springs, and west of Denver and Boulder, Colorado. Okay, here's our basic look at what's going on right now. Corrine, good to have you on from Park River. Furrow, good to see you. Good morning, and thank you very much for checking out the broadcast. 1.75 inches in Hackensack measured with the tape. Thank you, Chad, for the update on that. We did get this light batch that was impacting much of western Dakota earlier in the day. So here are the main points of this broadcast, and I do want to point out that we have some changes in the snowfall track, and I did make some images here that will highlight this for us as we go through, but there are a couple of points I wanted to make that now that we're getting into that range of the snow hitting a time frame, the storm hitting a time frame that the higher resolution models can grab a hold of it, I am seeing a shift to the south. So the highlight is a south shift, and let's go ahead and put that up real quick, and we'll analyze the radar and have timing here in just a second. But let's take a look at this. Good morning, Mary Ann, Kathy, good to have you on. Wayne from East Grand Forks, thank you so much. Faye, for joining. Jenny, good to see you as well. Last night was sure a fun night. And Colleen, thank you so very much. I got to spend some time with the fine folks that were doing a little bit of a fundraiser for the Special Olympics, and what an awesome event that was last night. So I hope you had a chance to get out. Okay, we're going to ignore the banner that says "Create an Oasis" here. Let me see if I can update that in real time. And I beg your pardon for this, because I was not anticipating that. Still saying that. But we'll just take a look at this. This is your morning update, and this is an update to the storm track. So let's take a look at this right now. Good morning, Betty. Hi, Paul. Good to have you on board. Heather from Jamestown, Foreman, North Dakota, checking in, and Matthew, Angela out there as well. Now, check this out. These numbers are still going to change, so let's keep that in mind. Notice we still have dry conditions, or drier conditions, up north. Now, there looks to be, on this particular model, which is a higher resolution model called the North American model, that goes out through the duration of the storm. So this is through about Wednesday morning, and we're still looking at a foot or more of snow, with a bullseye being closer to that 16 inches plus on this particular model as we get into the morning on Wednesday. So there is a little bit of a calming down of some of those 20-inch reports that we were talking about. And remember, I was saying those large-scale models can tend to overblow things from time to time, and they make it look like a huge area. Notice a fairly narrow band of heavy snow, and it is in our area. So Richland County, northeast South Dakota, and Lakes Country. We're talking mainly the eastern portions of these counties. So let's take, for instance, Polk County up north. Winter storm warnings for you folks in Polk County, but we have the heaviest of the impacts on the eastern side of the county. And as we get down into the Fargo area, there's been a southerly shift as well. This model's still saying the potential is there for, say, over 6 to 8 inches of snow, and that certainly is possible. But National Weather Service forecast for Fargo, for instance, says 6 to 16, and it's a wide range for a reason. That's because this track can shift even the day before. The heaviest impacts in our area, and the greatest impacts, will be as we go to bed tonight, Sunday night through Monday, and on Monday, the early half of the day will bring some of the heaviest bands of snow for us. But it will linger around in some areas, particularly east, into Tuesday. So this is one model. Let me show you another one, and we'll show you this consensus or trend we're starting to see. Aha! Here, still driest north. Now, just because we're talking 2 and 3 inches of snow up north, there's going to be probably more breaks, more dry air. There'll still be blowing and drifting of snow, and it could still bring very significant travel impacts and drifting as this storm makes its way through. But as we go to Highway 200, remember that's a focal point we've been talking about lately as well. So we're talking all the way from the Lake Sakakawea area right through Foster and Eddy counties and along Griggs Steel Trail counties into Minnesota. That Highway 200 corridor seems to be where that sharp cutoff or ramping up of snow amounts will be. Now, Fargo still sits in this particular model, which is a higher resolution American model. And this one's showing the Sisseton Hills getting enhanced snowfall. This is the feature, one of the features that these high-resolution models can pick out. They pick out areas where we could have enhanced snowfall, and the Sisseton Hills is almost always one of the areas where this can happen, thanks to the elevated terrain. Notice between Twin Cities and up in the area of Duluth and the North Shore, that's where the ridiculous snowfall amounts show up on this model, but it doesn't look dry, and it will be very impactful. This is going to be a difficult snowfall to measure as well with the winds. Now let's take a look at one more model, and this one has a more pronounced shift. Folks, this is from the European model. Hi, Linda from Ellendale. Lori, good to have you on board. Thank you so much. Love all of you joining me. Thank you so very much. Heath, thanks for talking about winter weather. Time to get to summer weather, a lot of folks are saying, and you're not alone in that sentiment. Hutch Johnson agrees with the warm-up, but we could sure use the moisture. This European model has probably one of the more pronounced southerly shifts. Notice Fargo, 3.8 inches. I do not want anyone in Fargo or the warned areas to shrug this storm off. It's still going to be quite significant. This one here has the heaviest bands ramping up just south of Fargo. But look at Lakes Country, Becker, Ottertail in the pink, meaning the heavier snow bands could be setting up for you. So here's what Hutch can take from this, and that's the fact that it does look like there's a southerly shift to the models. Let me show you what this looks like as we put the model in motion in your forecast for you. I'm going to load this up here, and I'm going to switch it over from temperatures, which are going to be kind of hovering in those 20s as we go through the early part of the event, and then maybe sneak up in some areas a little bit closer to the 30-degree mark. Let me pull up the most recent model run that goes out a little farther. And here you go. You can see these temperatures. Look at things warm up in southern Minnesota, where snow starting out tonight becomes rain, and then look at the 60s hit parts of Iowa. Okay, so in between that zone, we could have some icing. They're talking about significant icing up near Duluth and that North Shore area, by the way, so let's keep that in mind. So let's take a look at this model's hour-by-hour rendition of the future radar right quick, and we'll go over that with you. Now, this is a high resolution. It updates every hour. The fun thing about these models is they can keep track of where these heavier bands could set up. The problem is it switches every hour, so we cannot come on every hour and say it's moved 50 miles north, it's moved 50 miles south. To alleviate that, I usually will look at only the primary model runs from these guys and rely a little less heavily on these data runs that come in every hour. Okay, let's take a look at this. We see that this light snow that's in the area now, as we go towards noon today, remember, Hutch has been saying be where you want to be by 10 a.m. to noon. Anywhere south of I-94 starts to see the impacts of snow. Now, some of of us may be getting light snow and be, well, this isn't a big deal yet, but it is coming and it's lifting north. So the low pressure system's still all the way down in Colorado and Nebraska and Kansas at this point. And then it starts lifting northward as we go into the night tonight. So tonight we'll bring some bands of snow as we head towards the late evening hours on Sunday night. Look what's going on in southern Minnesota. A very heavy band of snow and icing, sleet, and then rain popping over the top of that as those 60s push their way in to Iowa. So heavy rain, rumbles of thunder will be likely, thunder snow, thunder sleet, southern Minnesota, Iowa, and into southern parts of South Dakota as well for you folks in the Sioux Falls area and anywhere really south of the Huron area and likely even as far north as Watertown. Now you get up and this is midnight. This is midnight on Sunday night. And it's still not really showing a huge impact in the Fargo area until we get into closer to daybreak. So Sunday is going to be today, starting at noon. We're going to have bands of moderate snow. It could become heavy. Travel becomes very difficult in places, but the heaviest bands of snow look to focus here as we go into the overnight hours into Monday morning. So let's keep that in mind. You may not see things getting rolling until the overnight hours in some of our counties. Now, the wind and snow really starts to intensify as the low pressure system lifts north. This is on Monday morning. And look at the snow lasting throughout Monday during the day, with heavy bands drifting as far north as the Highway 200 corridor. Eastern Polk County, you see that? So the system is definitely going to have its opportunity to bring bands of heavy snow, and there still could be some impact as far north as you see here, those bands lifting all the way up into Grand Forks. So National Weather Service has warnings for many of our counties, and there is the possibility, the Weather Service says, that a blizzard or blizzard-like conditions can occur with this system. Now, there's no blizzard warning for our area. That is confined way down to the south in parts of Nebraska and Kansas because the storm is there. We're going to wait. We're going to see. It's still a day away from the heaviest of the impacts getting here Sunday night into Monday morning. There will be impacts today. Mark my words, there'll be impacts today. The warning starts now, but the heaviest of the snow is likely going to be during the overnight hours tonight into the day on Monday, particularly the first half of the day. Now, this is Monday at noon, and as we go through the day, the heavy bands of snow do continue to wind up this way. Look at the rain pushing all the way into Lakes Country. The I-94 corridor towards St. Cloud could see rain on top of the snow, making that slushy mess. Our wind shifts to north Monday as we go through the day, and that north wind will then take hold. So it's easterly through much of the event and then shifts northeasterly as we go through Monday night and into Tuesday. The snow does continue as the storm rapidly lifts north. So that is a look at the timing. And the bottom line is that we do have some changes taking place with this system, and that is going to be the case as we've been talking about. Some of us will be happy about those changes, others not so much. So, okay, there is a band of snow in the Minot area right now. As we look in on the radar, we'll go ahead and turn off the warnings. But again, the red counties here from eastern Montana through all of the southern 2/3 of North Dakota, almost all of South Dakota is in a winter storm warning, but there is a chunk here near Chamberlain on the I-90 corridor, winter, and south central parts of South Dakota here that is under the influence of a blizzard warning already. Now, Huron having some heavy snow in that area, as is the Brookings and Sioux Falls area, quickly to become rain where it's rain in Des Moines. Now, I'll turn off the warnings so we can take a look at this. These are surrounded by winter weather advisories, by the way, for you folks in Grafton. So it means that Grafton, Marshall County, Minnesota, Park River in the Walsh County, North Dakota area, all the way up to the international border. Those winter weather advisories in blue or a purplish blue mean that the impacts will be a little lower. Mike, thank you so very much for your sharing of stars and supporting Hutch. Good morning. Son drove home with friends from Kentucky last night. No issues. Good. That was a perfect timing and perfect window to get in. Glad that they made it safely. Now, buckle down, sit back and relax, and we'll see how things take place here as we go through. Here's the radar now, as I've been talking about it, but forgot to switch it over to show to you, so I apologize for that. Rick, thanks for joining from Park Rapids. Just tuning in, what did you miss? The headline is this. For those of you, we'll go do a quick headline review, and I'll show you the impact of the Making its way in. Here's one model. This is a high resolution model. Notice we still have the lower impacts up north. That's what we anticipated. Some of the heavier bands of snow are not as heavy as they've been on some of these other models. That is to be anticipated. The higher resolution models can pick out the fine features of where the heavier bands set up. The models are showing numbers here, and do not grab a number and say this is gospel, this is what's going to fall. I can't tell you that yet. The National Weather Service is doing a great job. They're saying, you know what, 6 to 16 inches for Fargo. Why such a wide range? Well, because the main event of this is going to take place into Sunday night and Monday morning, and then throughout the day on Monday. So there's still plenty of this event that takes place more than 24 hours out, and there can be some changes to this. So we're going to leave the wider range. I think that's a good idea. The interesting aspect, though, is that heavier band of snow looks to be south. Now, if you're in the western Dakotas, your snowfall amounts there, and it's been snowing in some of your areas since last night. So there's already been some Saturday snow. The main event for you is on its way. It does look like the impacts will provide an additional, let's say, 2 to 7 inches of snow in parts of western North Dakota, including Beach, Medora, down into the Mobridge area in South Dakota. The capital city, Bismarck, though, this model says a little lower impact. So let's keep in mind that there will be some changes to this. Here's one other model I wanted to show you. This is a quick peek at another high resolution model. This isn't high resolution. I beg your pardon. This is the European model. Notice the huge southerly shift of the European model. Hutch likes the European model between days 3 and 5. This one may be a little bit too far. It might be just right, but it's showing the trend way down to the south, and not a lot of the higher resolution models are showing the trend being quite that far to the south. So let's keep that in mind as well. But I did want to give you the opportunity to see some of these other forecast models with this southerly shift to the snowfall potential. Here is another one. Let's go with a look at this other American model here. This one, let's go with this North American model. So this is a higher resolution model too. And the shift is southerly. Highway 200 does appear to be the cutoff line across the region. That's been pretty consistent. Notice the heavier bands of snow are upwards of 14 to 18 inches of snow still. Not too many plus, not too many 24s showing up in this, and that's good. Ava says shift it south. Peggy says, Peggy, thanks for joining, Peggy from Jamestown. Good to have you. Karina as well in Detroit Lakes. So looks like the National Weather Service gives bigger ranges now, Simon says, and the range and forecast is just a smart way to handle a system like this when we're talking information people need to make decisions about. But we have uncertainties, and those uncertainties can only be handled by saying there's going to be a range, and honestly, we're not sure where that heaviest band is going to precisely set up. So thanks, Eddie, for the stars. I sure appreciate you always. Irene, thanks for joining. Now let's take a look at our radar real quick. And again, that radar showing where the system is setting up. Huron is where we have a heavy band moving through. Highway 14 corridor out to the I-29 corridor. Sisseton, you got a band of snow between you and Aberdeen that's setting up looking pretty healthy. I'll show you DOT conditions. There is a slightly heavier band in the Minot area. And in Minot, we have winter weather advisories for you up towards the area near Kenmare. There are no warnings, watches, advisories at all for Rugby to Belcourt, but you do have some snow making its way through. The main event is down here. The low pressure center is all the way here where you see the pink. That pink is the winter storm warning has been upgraded in the pink area to a blizzard warning. So blizzard warning there. We may see some areas put into a blizzard warning, but the call cannot be made on that yet until we have a better grasp on the winds and the snow and the intensification of the storm and where those impacts happen. It's just the way it was. Tim, thanks for following from Phoenix. Good to have you on board. Now let's talk shop. Let's look at road reports in North Dakota first, and we'll shift to South Dakota where the event is getting a little heavier. And we'll move through to Minnesota as well, but most of the impacts right now in the Dakotas. Remember, on the North Dakota map, some of these colors are a little different. The purple areas, by the way, are some wet and slippery covered roads, so snow-covered roads. And we see from Minot through Devil's Lake, we have snow-covered roads reported. Here's Devil's Lake in our area, and we do have some snow showing up. Visibility looks pretty decent up there. Remember the heavier band we just looked at together on radar? Just north of Minot. Let's look at Minot, north on Highway 83. Visibility a little reduced there, and the snow and ice are covering the roads. So there are some slippery roads on 83 north of Minot. Between Bismarck and Minot, as we get down towards Lake Sakakawea, Cole Harbor having a layer of snow and ice on the road, nothing too heavy yet. And in the southern part of the state, near Dickinson, Bismarck, Mott. If you are in Dickinson, let's check out the I-94 corridor through Dickinson. So remember, the heaviest impacts were going to be south and west today and then increase as we get into the midday hour. So I've just been saying, be where you want to be by 10. Here's a look at some of the interstate conditions there. Reduced visibility as the snow is still falling. There's Beach, North Dakota. Let's check in on our friends at Beach. No towels out there, no sunscreen or lawn chairs yet in Beach, but we definitely have some snow on the side of the road. Interstate 94 through the capital city, right quick. Let's show you what's going on. We do have flakes flying, and that's from the Capitol building right there, looking out from its tall tower. And, well, we do have some certain visibility reduction there. This is a look to the east. Now, this is looking right into the wind direction, right? So that has been impeded by the snow covering the lens. Now, as we get into the eastern third of North Dakota, Jamestown, let's check your area out. Thanks for watching from Jamestown, by the way. Carla, thanks for watching. Battle Lake checking in. We got to update for you as well. Here's some roads. They're not looking too bad in the Jamestown area. We do have some partially covered roads, and this is Oriska, and we have some partially covered roads there on I-94. Fargo, what's happening in Fargo, you say? Well, oofta. Not a lot. We do have some light snow that fell. That fell last night. It was light. It was close to an inch. So we got started with that first burp making its way through, and that gave us a reminder that we're still in the wintry season. Travel in town, not bad. Now let's take a look at South Dakota, shall we? Let's go down south on 29 and head down toward the state line down by Hankinson. And here's a look at that state line camera. And we got a little icing taking place on this particular lens shot here as we are looking a little bit more to the east. So that's the way that west, excuse me, that's the way that lens is coming in. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So maybe some of this fell as a little bit of mist down there. I don't know for sure, but temperatures certainly are cool enough for snow as we see it accumulating on the roadside. Now, South Dakota, right quick. This is where the heavier bands are now, and it's going to be lifting from here. We'll show you the conditions on South Dakota roads, and the color's a little bit different. The pinks that you see on here would indicate areas where we have some snow-covered roads again, and we definitely have that in the southern portion of the state. No closures as of this particular time. Dry and normal roads, by the way, in the black lines. So where you see north central South Dakota dry and normal, but the I-29 corridor starting to take on some snow. Now, there was a healthy band of snow showing up not far from Sioux Falls and Mitchell. Let's take a look at Mitchell, and there you have it. There's the plows hard at work. DOT's trying to keep things at least passable as the snow begins, and they're out working hard. Look at that road, though. That is, look at I-90 completely covered with a nice concrete mixture there of some snow and some ice. Watertown, South Dakota, it looks like the visibility's reduced there, but we don't have coverage on the interstate too bad. Temperatures down in central South Dakota and southern South Dakota will be going through that transition from cold enough to snow for cold enough to rain. And that's what we're seeing in and near Sioux Falls. So let's check out Sioux Falls now at that interchange between 90 and 29. Here we go. Here's 29. It looks wet. Okay, so there's been some very heavy wet snow there, and we don't have the appearance of super heavy bands of snow moving through. So the precipitation we're seeing on the radar that shows up to be pretty heavy in that Sioux Falls area is a very wet, heavy snow. And in the clouds, it looks like it's a heavy band of snow. What's reaching the ground is not the heaviest of snow quite yet, but it's a very wet snow that's melting as it comes down. So that's a look at our region. Let's check in on Minnesota. There is a band that's in the southern part of the state near Rochester, but and some near Duluth and up northwest. So we'll take a quick peek at what we got on a couple of roads there too, and then get you covered. So here we go. This is a look at the Minnesota roads, and what we're seeing here, anywhere you see the pink colors, we've got completely covered roads reported. So from Fergus Falls to Alexandria, we haven't see the asterisks there? Those asterisks indicate areas where we have incidents. So there's already some crashes going on I-94. This is a look at some very icy conditions here. So as the snow is falling, it's icing up the old lens on the camera there near Alexandria. So keep that in mind. Here is a better look at the road surface. 94 at Alexandria, and we do have some icy conditions on the road surface there. There is an incident reported here, a westbound crash showing up on I-94 just off to the east of Alexandria. As we get a little closer to the Fargo area, we still have impacts. This is Dalton. There is a crash. A semi is jackknifed there, westbound I-94. Here is a look at the, let's take a look at this one. We can see the Fergus Falls area here, and we definitely have some coverage on the I-94 there. At milepost 61 and a half is where that's reported to be. So not far from Fergus. Roth say not a lot of coverage on the road there. There is some slippery road conditions, winter storm warning in effect, as you can see on the sign there, and the DOT making sure travelers know. Highway 10, not a problem yet. The snow really hasn't been as impactful yet in the Fargo area, but as said in the forecast here, it does look like it will be increasing. Thanks so much for your support of Stars. Thanks so much for watching. I'll have updates throughout the day here, and we'll keep our vision on this band of heavier snow that's lifting through Sioux Falls now. This is set to enhance as the storm lifts northward. It will get stronger, in other words. The wind will increase, and then we will see things transpire. Let's check out one look at the radar and the measurements from our area of temperature and wind speed, so we can give you a quick peek at that in our area. And here, let me see, I'm going to have to zoom in. And here we go. Let's pick the Mayville radar. There we go. Now we'll start getting some data put up here for you. And then you can see that right now we're in the middle of this easterly wind. It really hasn't picked up all that much yet. That is coming. So our easterly winds are 10 to 20 miles per hour, a little bit stronger down near the Sisseton Hills right now. We have a band of snow moving through Grand Forks now. As we look in towards Park River and Thief River Falls, we have a band of snow making its way towards you guys. And in fact, it's enough to coat the roads with some snow in Devil's Lake. We saw that. That's likely extending all the way into the Pennington County area for Carrington as well. Thanks so much. This will look at our conditions. Temperatures cold enough for those snowflakes here. We're in the teens. And look what's coming down to the south in Sioux Falls as we take a look at some of their reports. We have a very heavy band of snow near Sioux City showing up near Lamar's. That's right in the northern part of Sioux City, coming into town between Sioux City and Sioux Falls. And that band is lifting north. That's heading towards Worthington. And that is associated with, remember I said thunder snow? Here we go. We've got near Atlantic on I-80 and heading toward Des Moines. There's snow flakes on the radar. There's lightning there. That's in Iowa. That's lifting north towards Minnesota. And there will be a chance of that thunder snow and thunder sleet with very heavy bands making its way northward a little bit later. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson. I'll be back here throughout the day. This has been an update. We'll have several of them. The main event does begin as we head into the midday hours and after. So please remember to be where you're going to be. I'll pull up my fun graphics I've had and been using the last couple of days just as quick reminders here for you as we wrap up. Saturday there was light snow. Sunday heavy snow begins. Gusts begin to increase to 40 miles per hour in the latter half of the day. Be where you want to be by 10 to noon. The warning is in place now. The road conditions are deteriorating now. As we go into Monday and Sunday night and Monday, the heaviest of the event will take place through the Monday's first half of the day. The wind becomes a little more northerly. And yes, South Dakota will continue to be a heavy target. It's not listed here simply because of the room on my text layer. Apologies, South Dakota. You are definitely going to get some of the heaviest snow. Tuesday, light to moderate snow in the valley and east, and that exits. So that's a look at that. And as we head through the event, you'll want to be prepared for what? Well, heavy snow, gusty winds over 40 miles per hour. Can't reduce or neglect the whiteout conditions, particularly in open country. It looks like the greatest impacts will be south of Highway 200 and along and south of that area into southern North Dakota, and all of South Dakota will be impacted by this nasty storm. We could see blizzard conditions. That's still a possibility. We'll keep you updated there. Falling temperatures means icy roads continue even after the storm goes, and the storm will last into Wednesday morning on the eastern parts of Minnesota. That's right, Wednesday morning into eastern Minnesota and northern Minnesota. Travel difficult to impossible. Stay home if you can. There'll be delays and cancellations. Events and air travel have already been disrupted. Power outages will be a possibility with wind and snow. Livestock will be at risk, so ranchers, take precautions there the best you can to protect your livestock from an easterly wind today and tonight and early tomorrow, shifting to a northerly wind as we go through the latter portion of the event on Monday and into Tuesday. The snow load could be significant on roofs because we're talking a very heavy wet snow, the best chance of that, and the heaviest snow will be in South Dakota and southern and central Minnesota. I will keep you posted on all of this. Stay tuned to Hutch here and stay safe and nuzzle in, throw another log on the fire and enjoy the time together. And we'll talk again here in a second. Stay off those roads if you can at all. Do that. Appreciate you all very